All right, in the prior video then we utilized Electron Remote in order to access our local file system, or our dialog box, sorry. We used FS to get into our local file directory, and combination of these three things, then we saw how we could save data to a file. So now we're going to do the opposite. We are going to read data from a file, and then, so we'll click on this button that has the ID of open, and we will write that data into this text area box. So let me make sure everything is saved. So nothing is attached at the moment. We'll run this just so you can see my beautiful design. It's not going to win any awards, but it'll do the job. So we're going to open up a file. Nothing's attached to it yet, and whatever's in that file we're going to put into this text box, text area. So let's go ahead and make that happen. So our setup's the same as it was in our file open, or in our file save, but now we're going to open a file. So what we need to do then is we need to set up a event listener, just like we did before. Document, gosh darn it, get element by ID, and the name of that button is open. And then we're going to add an event listener, click, and when we get to the click, we're going to run a file or a function called open file. So let's write that function, open file. All right, so what are we going to do now? Well, first we need to display that open dialog box. So just like we did before, dialog, except this time we're going to do show open dialog, and we're going to get a callback function. Sorry, I lost track of where I was. We're going to get a callback function in which we're going to receive whatever file names. Now this, we have the possibility we're going to get back an array that they could potentially select more than one file. So we have to account for that. So we're going to assume that we're getting back an array this time. And so we have to deal with that. So what we're going to do, again, we'll check to make sure that they did in fact choose something. So file names is undefined. Then we'll alert, no files were selected. And then we'll get out of here. Assuming all went well though, what will happen? Well, we will, I'm going to set up a separate function called read file, and we're going to send it just one value. We're going to send it the first element of the array. So whatever their first file that they chose, we're going to just choose that. So we're not going to deal with more than one. We'll just choose the fact that the first file you picked, you're going to pick at least one. We're going to deal with that one. All right, so let's just verify. I guess before I run this, let's just make sure this is working. So we're going to run that, and let's verify that it's working. So when I click on open file, I do get a file, and boom. Okay, what if I chose nothing? What if I chose cancel? Oh, no files were selected. Perfect. All right, so now we need to read that file and put it into our text area. So let's write that function. So function read file, and it's receiving a file from right here. Okay, so now we'll utilize the FS library, FS read file. We'll give it the path or the variable name that we have that file name in. You can give it things like UTF. So what is the format? UTF-8. That's the coding system. And then we could also send it, well, third parameter is if there's any error, and then of course the data that came in from the file. So we're reading the file. This is the encoding scheme. UTF-8 is pretty standard. If we have any error, any problems retrieving that file, maybe the file didn't actually exist or something like that, and then here's the data that we got from the file. Okay, so if error, then let's alert there was an error retrieving EIBN your file. Okay, and then we'll return. Okay, otherwise all went well. So we need to put our data into our text area. So var text area is equal to document, just get element by ID. We call that output. And then we can set text area dot value equal to whatever we got in data. So let's see if that works. So npm start. Open a file. This is the file we saved from our last video. And we didn't get anything in there for some reason, so let's see if we can figure out why. Toggle developer tools, text area. I guess I spelled text area wrong, so that's apparently important. So let's fix that. All right. If it knew it was spelled wrong, why didn't it just fix it for me? All right, open file, text, and here is my name. So that is the data that we wrote. So there you have it. We have now successfully read from a file and put that file onto our web page or our desktop application.